So, the Leafs lost to the Predators at the Air Canada Centre. How does that make you feel?
You know, I think you might be surprised.
I was surprised last time!
No, you weren't.
No, you're out of your mind.
Showtime!
Penny point! Whoopsie daisy, this team is ruining my life! Alright, this is where I talk about the Leafs losing to Nashville, huh? This is where I talk about the Leafs losing to Nashville again? This walking to the Air Canada Centre like they always do? This is what I'm gonna talk about? I'm supposed to start that video with that thing, oh, Leafs lose 3-2, who cares? They lost! I'm supposed to talk about how the Leafs were taking penalties early in the game and Philip Forsberg was able to open the scoring? I'm supposed to talk about that? Brutal coverage allowing a partial breakaway on a penalty kill? How do you even do that? I'm supposed to talk about that? Or Forsberg's second of the game early in the second? I'm supposed to talk about that? Or his hat-trick goal just over 2 minutes later? I'm supposed to talk about that? And the fact that Forsberg became the youngest player in Nashville Predators history to get a hat-trick because the Leafs can't just lose, they have to break some kind of record in the process? I'm supposed to talk about that? And oh sweet, it's 4-0 now! I'm supposed to talk about that?
And just before I turn Super Saiyan, Mike Babcock calls a coach's challenge. That's when you get a challenge from one of the coaches because the officials are a joke. And of course Babcock challenges it, and they show the play, and oh look, it looks like Ryan Ellis was like a little offside. So the goal technically doesn't count. It doesn't count. Congrats, Leafs. Congrats, Babcock. Congrats, everybody. And I was calling it out on Twitter because who cares? Who really cares? Oh, the Leafs are only down 3-0 instead of 4-0. The game is over. Open your eyes. They suck. But negative attitude aside, it was 3-0 instead of 4-0. I gave up on the game at that point. I'm giving live updates on how close the Predators are to 9 goals. I didn't even care that the goal was called back. I would have been just as happy with it left on the board. I gave up. Mike Babcock did not. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about how just over 2 minutes into the third period in his second career NHL game, Brendan Leipsic draws a tripping penalty, sending the Leafs to the power play. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the maybe getting traded Nazem Kadri sending a sick feed to Josh Levo, scoring a power play goal in his first game back from injury. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Peter Holland sending an even sicker pass through to Morgan Riley, and he scores, putting the Leafs down by 1 with less than 2.5 minutes to play. Let's talk about that. Or how about Daniel Winnick missing a wide open net? No, let's not talk about that, actually. We can talk about lots of things when it comes to this game. We can talk about whatever we want. We can talk about how this is a lost season. We can talk about tanking. We can talk about how some of the players in this game may have just played their last game as a Toronto Maple Leaf. We can talk about all those things if we want. But I want to talk about how they did not quit. Peter Holland putting up points. He's playing for a contract. Nazem Kadri putting up points. He's playing for a contract. Who knows, maybe even another team. Josh Levo, he's putting up points. He's playing for a contract and just to stay in the NHL. Brendan Leipsic drawing calls. He's fighting to stay in the NHL. The Leafs fought in this game. And when you're rebuilding, when you're going through the deconstruction phase and management is just tearing flesh from the bone of the team, all I want to know is that the team on the ice has a pulse. And they flatlined for a bit in the first period, but the team showed they had life. And if you can believe it, it starts with that goofy little probably didn't mean anything coach's challenge. You know, this might sound rich coming from a Leafs fan, but there is such a thing as losing with dignity. The Leafs have 50 points in the standings. That's not good, but there are 2 more months to play. Last year's Buffalo Sabres finished with 54! But if you show up, and the Leafs eventually did, you got my respect. So that is it for this one. It's going to be a very busy week. It already has been. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. And oh, I won! What'd I win? I didn't actually think I was going to win. A coffee! Yeah!